Hello and welcome back. My name is Jazz and welcome back to BollyOn's YouTube channel. So today we're going to talk about how do you master dance or choreography without the mirror. I think in most scenarios we are heavily reliant on the mirror, and oftentimes what happens in our classes is when we remove the mirror or when we ask everyone to face the back of the room, everyone panics. Because they can't, all of a sudden they don't know where is right and where is left in their body anymore. Gets a little bit confusing because sometimes we are very accustomed to the space that we are in, and we understand that right means here and left means here, and we're very used to those directions. But the moment we change that orientation, and again, it's not to say that something's wrong with you, there's nothing wrong with you, it is just a training in the mind. And sometimes people are dyslexic. Okay, sometimes people have certain conditions whereby, the brain doesn't really grasp certain things quicker, and that's nothing wrong with that. I think what's more important is identifying that this is something that you struggle with. And if it is something that you struggle with, what are the ways that we can master the dance without being so heavily reliant on the mirror? So, a couple of things to do is, firstly, yes, we may learn in front of a mirror, but make sure that you are practicing when you get home or whenever you do have the time to practice. Make sure that you are practicing without the mirror. Make sure that you are trying to ensure that the steps are coming from you, from within you, instead of an external source. Now, of course, in this day and age, we take videos, we watch videos, we're constantly on maybe social media to learn particular steps, right? And that's great and everything. And again, everybody has different levels of understanding, levels of memory, levels of so many things. We have so many things that run into our minds, or like stay in our minds and get clustered and flustered. So, in saying that and keeping all of that into mind, I think being gracious with yourself is definitely one of those things. However, thinking about what is the best way that works for you. So, some of the ways and some of the techniques that we recommend is definitely to practice without a mirror, practice at home. Practice without watching the choreography, so that the steps come again from you, not from anywhere else, but remembering the motions. And also trusting that you actually know the steps. I think oftentimes as dancers, we get flustered because we have to remember, but there is this science behind movement. It's called muscle memory. And there's actually a lot of science to back it, that our muscles have memory. They can remember movements. And sometimes it's effortless for a lot of people because they trust themselves and they are maybe flowing, and a lot of people will say, I don't know how I remember so quickly, right? It's maybe because they have this innate trust. And it's not to say that you can never get there as well. You can get there, it is all just practice. So, if we can't get there, what's the journey like to get there, essentially, right? How can we get to a point whereby we're not heavily reliant on a mirror? When you are in front of a mirror in a dance class, the idea is to not watch yourself. The idea is to watch your teacher when she's demonstrating. Now, after that time, it's hard, but I need you to think about maybe looking at a different spot in the mirror. So not looking directly at yourself, not looking directly at anybody else, but kind of looking in the spaces. So when you watch yourself in the spaces, you see general movements and you see everyone's general movements. It's really helpful, and I think a lot of choreographers do this as well, I do this, to be able to watch choreography and synchronization rather in a choreography. Okay, how good are we syncing in a particular choreography? But that is also another technique that I've used to be able to help my mental capacity to not heavily reliant on the person who's dancing in front and following them, but looking kind of in the gaps and in the spaces. Of course, like I mentioned before, practicing without a mirror, practicing without a video reference, all these are other ways that you can master choreography. And then changing direction. Change the direction that you are standing. Perhaps if you always practice at home in a particular direction, change it. Turn around in the other direction and go, all right, it's the same dance. The moves should be exactly the same. The direction should be exactly the same, but I'm not bound by these four walls and me feeling like I have to walk closer to this cupboard for this step. No, it is just the dimensions. It's really just where you're facing. So that is also another way to train yourself to keep changing your direction, to be able to master a particular choreography without being heavily reliant on a mirror. So I hope those steps, or those tips rather, help you in your dance journey. And don't forget to keep dancing, keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next one.